welcome to the Unlucky Frog Gaming Podcast. You are joined here by your usual hosts, Josh Hartley, Ben Porter and Charlotte Porter.
Hello.
How are we doing, both of us?
We are,
all of us,
we are
even.
Good. We are good.
That reflects
Josh
how
can
tired I
count
am.
good, yeah.
Yeah, I can English good as well.
Yeah. We're on the road. We're actually
on tour.
We're,
Unlucky Frog on tour.
We're in the snug in the Cherrybank Inn.
Yeah, and we are joined here by Kenny and Lawrence from Dice Roll Cafe.
Yes. Woo!
Yeah. How are we doing, guys?
Pretty good. Sorry, I won't cover my mouth, but I'm really happy, but also mixed in with a bit of exhaustion as well.
Yes.
I think we're all a bit shattered.
Yeah.
It's been like 12, 13 hour days, so...
So in case you have not been following any of our stuff at all...
In case you've been living under a rock.
Yeah, we have been up at the first
Mm-hmm.
Tabletop
the
Scotland.
Inaugural.
The inaugural. First of many,
Yes.
I would imagine. Up here in Perth. We are currently sat at the beautiful Cherrybank Inn.
Lovely.
If you were to walk out, looking outside, just to bring it in a bit nerdy, it looks like the sort of tavern you'd get your quest at.
Yes.
From Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
And the interior does not disappoint either.
I feel like we should be in like a sort of Sherlock Holmes murder mystery.
Well,
with the wood panelling and the...
You mentioned Mysterium earlier
Yes.
as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's got that kind of vibe.
There was knocking at the walls for sure.
Yeah. I think so.
I choose to believe it's a ghost.
Trying to
Yeah, I want to believe.
I want to believe.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to try and unpack our initial thoughts on Tabletop Scotland, report on the various goings-ons, and just summarise what's been a tremendous but full-on weekend for us.
Yeah.
So where do we start?
Let's start at the beginning.
It's a good place to
There's a
start.
song about that.
Yeah. So we got up on the Friday, right?
Yes. We arrived at about
11:30?
midday. Yeah, about midday.
And we ended up shifting a lot of furniture.
Yes.
Yeah, I feel like we helped put up all the tables in the world.
And the chairs.
Yeah, and the chairs.
So many chairs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this was the three of us and the four Tabletop Scotland guys
And
as well.
And then
room full of volunteers.
some
as well.
volunteers
Yeah.
trickled in a bit later on in the day, but
And then these lovely people appeared.
Yes.
As if by magic.
Who were running the games library for the weekend,
Yes.
but not your own games library
Yes.
for unfortunate reasons.
Well, it was. I will first of all say that we had a last minute saviour because at my collection that we have every dice roll is at the CCA, so there's Contemporary Arts Centre in Glasgow, Sarkill Street. They are adjacent to the art school, Glasgow Art School, and in June the art school went on fire.
Again.
Yeah, again.
And a part of the repercussions of that event was that all the city blocks surrounding it were kind of like on lockdown. Nobody was allowed to enter their homes, enter their shops or anything.
they condemned half the street, right?
Exactly.
And if in case you haven't seen it on the news, that is just how severe this fire was at the School of Art.
I think it was worse than the first one, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
But the collection is safe.
As far as I know,
Good.
fingers crossed.
So you've not even been able to get in.
No, I haven't.
Right.
But I do know of a couple. They've started allowing a couple people in to inspect the building, fire marshals and stuff like that. So I think that it is safe where it is.
And the CC is actually right next.
Right next
Yeah,
door.
because I know that they've started opening up the other side is like Hill Street, but the CCA,
It's right across Scott Street, I think. And because that west wall is like very high, and they've started like taking large masonry blocks off of it and laying it on the road just now, so like it could have fallen over and just like crushed a whole room of board gamers potentially. That's why.
And that's the worst scenario. That's the worst scenario that could have happened.
It is.
Well, fingers crossed you get access to your games soon.
So we didn't have your games, but there was a whole load of games there.
Yeah.
So back to Darius.
Yes.
So Darius, Jess and Stefan, who came all the way up from Kent and transported the collection that they've had at the Uncon events. They've been going for like 2 years now.
Yeah.
Twice a year. They have a convention down in Kent, I think near Margate.
Margate, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's that area anyway.
Yeah.
And I think David, who's the one of the organisers, maybe the main organiser.
Convention overlord.
Yeah. Emperor on high. No, certainly Gen Con peddler.
Yeah.
Dave may have mentioned a couple of times that he'd been to Gen Con over this
He
weekend.
didn't have to because all the t-shirts, when he wasn't wearing a Tabletop Scotland t-shirt,
He's given me an Alien Legendary lanyard, which he got at Gen Con.
I got a promo pack, which he got at Gen Con.
He is peddling Gen Con.
Yeah, there we are.
Gen Con peddler makes him sound quite
So Darius and the team, they came up.
Yep. So they had David and Darius were just chatting, I think, at another con, and then he was telling Darius about the predicament with the CTA, and then Darius was very kindly offered, well, I'll bring up my whole collection if we can get transport, and then David was like, you know that you said that, let's do that. Can you do that? And so Darius is and Jess and Stefan, the real heroes of the library, really.
And the most generous people at the entire convention.
I think so, because they actually for the pub quiz, we're about halfway through it, and then Darius just walks up and goes, so for the winner, we want to give the whole team tickets to Uncon.
Amazing.
Totally.
If you want.
Yeah.
He was quite rightfully walking around with the Hall of Fame written on the back of his shirt, because I mean, like you were saying, he is very much the hero of Tabletop Scotland.
And the games library and the open gaming space was a massive success as well.
I hope so, because amongst Darius's the Uncon folks collection, we had some games from Duncan.
Yep.
I managed to get a few of mine that I have outside and brought up, mostly kind of smaller box games, because that's what I had out. And obviously there was a Gen Con hall. Someone brought that out.
Don't know
I
who.
don't
Yeah, who's been at Gen Con recently?
I can't think, but so amongst those little additions to the Uncon collection, we had a pretty good spread of games. I think most tastes and most player numbers were catered for.
I think so, yeah.
Well, it was the first time we've been, maybe not so many conventions as some other people, but we've been to a few now, and this was the first time we used a library at a convention.
Aye.
My initial reaction when I first heard that at conventions there were swaths of open gaming was a bit like, why? Like, why don't you just play games in your own time? But it's a huge thing, right? Because, like, first of all, you're meeting people that maybe that's the only opportunity you get to do that. And then the other thing is, you get to try out games before having to necessarily commit to them financially. And then the third thing is, like you're saying, the Gen Con releases. I mean, unless you backed it on Kickstarter, you can't get Everdell anywhere.
No.
But you had an opportunity to play that here. Forbidden Sky was there as well, and I think there's a few other Gen Con things as well.
Villainous was there.
So we played it.
How was that then? Because the thing is, like, I've not even. Me and Lawrence, we were trapped. Well, not trapped.
Held hostage at the library.
At gunpoint. Not at gunpoint. We were obviously running the library pretty much the whole weekend, but we didn't actually get much. We didn't actually get any game time except like a 5-minute one.
One game of marrying Mr. Darcy in.
Oh,
that was my weekend. Yeah.
Okay.
But that was
Did
I
you-
married
did-
Mr. Darcy, and it was amazing.
That's beautiful.
Everything I wanted.
Beautiful.
every young person's dream, really. But so we kept on seeing all these like Gen Con releases, all these other games that I remember from last year that I didn't get a chance to actually play. And then everybody was like, "Oh, it's such a great game," and I was like, "I know it's."
Pouring at the window.
Yeah.
Forlornly.
But we did play Villainous.
So this was Saturday morning because we as we were opening the doors, we interviewed a few people in the queue, met some fantastic people. There's one lady.
Quite a few cosplayers.
I was just going to say a couple of cosplayers. We met one lady who was dressed as her dwarf cleric from Dungeons and Dragons, and there was another chap, Joshua, who was dressed. Dressed from Critical Role.
The winged guy.
Yeah, he was amazing.
He was so impressive, right?
The swords as well.
And I just loved how functional it was as well. I saw him like sit down, take off his wings. He used to take off his wings and sit down.
It's
for a
game
game.
time.
But we, when I say we, Ben, Callum, and big shout out to Callum.
Yes.
We should do that now.
Lanky Santa, Techno Toad, as he's been affectionately known.
I think he is now one of the Technotoads. Yes. He is the first Technotoad. He came up to
the first of his name.
Yes. He came up to with us to help out with the technology and the logistics of everything, and we could not have done it without him.
He's very self-deprecating about it and keeps you could have done. We couldn't have actually done it because
you did another body, bodies, basically another pair of hands. So the three of us played Disney Villainous.
I was Captain Hook.
Well, I was on the doors at this time, wasn't I?
You were on the doors,
So you better seed me on the doors.
So
seems appropriate with.
Yes.
Ben loves pirates as well.
The aesthetic.
And who did you go as?
I went as Prince John from Robin Hood. He's a coward and he loves money, so it's perfect.
And then Callum played as Jafar. The build for Jafar, right? Tall, skinny.
I did enjoy it. So here's the thing: each villain has a different objective, a completely different objective, and it's really good flavour-wise because Callum's Jafar was this little chain of events that you had to do, like you had to get to the Cave of Wishes, grab the lamp.
You're basically reenacting the story from the film they're in, but you're trying to get the villain to win, which they never do in Disney films.
Yeah. You just simply had to kill Peter Pan.
No, I had to kill Peter Pan on the Jolly Roger.
Yeah.
So each villain has it's like 4 spaces. There are 4 different locations from each of the stories. Peter Pan always appears in the Hangman's Tree, which is right at the end. The Jolly Roger's the first. So you need to devise a way of getting Pan to the Jolly Roger.
Yeah.
But yours was
mine was just make money.
Power, wasn't it?
20 power is the currency in the game, and that's what Prince John loves. So I had a significantly easier time of getting my objective and actually won. But
having spoken to a few people afterwards, that seems to be a shared criticism of the game, is that the balance of the villains is slightly skewed. But I don't think it matters so much. Yeah. It's just fun.
In terms of, because I was actually I walked past Kat and Rob playing it with Christoph, and I'd said, they were explaining the mechanics because I never got to see it when you were playing it.
Yeah.
But it just really struck me that actually...
So you were on the front desk?
Yeah, I was on the front desk at this point. You could play the game 8 times and play it entirely, because you could play with every different character. You could play it,
So next time we play it, we're going to play with the 3 female villains probably, because we've not seen how they play. And it could be a totally different balance of things. So it's a stunning looking game.
It is.
Apart from the little scrying pool, the cauldron, which to be fair they don't even need to put in, but they did. But it
looks like the cheap insert. Cause I thought it was like an insert.
It's like made from plastic, the same polythene as like plastic cups, so it's about naff.
Yeah.
Everything else is gorgeous about it.
The ponds are beautiful.
Yeah, because they could have just been really unimaginative and put miniatures in, but they tried to create like an artifact that reflected
summed up the aesthetic, summed up the stature of the character, and they were like nice kind of transparent sort of crystal. Made you feel all fancy inside.
Kat was playing the King of Hearts.
Oh, okay.
Obviously,
very apt.
Yeah, there we are.
Apt in more ways than one, perhaps.
What are you suggesting?
Nothing.
So we got a game of that in, and then the chaos started for us, really. Starting off with 2 seminars that we had the pleasure of recording.
No.
We played Colt Express.
Colt Express as well.
And even before that.
On the mat.
We didn't play it on the mat. No,
we just played the base version. We didn't want to take up a spot in the gateway zone.
Yeah.
Because it's nice to let new people try nice things, right? We got a copy from the library.
You're welcome.
Yes.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank
Thank
you.
you, Lawrence. Thank you.
Thanks, and I'm probably about as well. But,
Ignore that, it's all me.
The
all
reason
Lawrence.
that we decided to play Colt Express was because we had a copy donated as a prize for the pub quiz,
Yeah.
and it's like we really should be able to
Play
top
this.
up.
Yeah, actually play this game
Yeah.
before we give it away to
so
someone.
you hadn't played Colt Express?
I've
No.
still not played it.
Never
No.
played it.
I want to
No.
play it so badly from what I've heard.
Yeah,
It's
I
okay, what
loved
did
it.
you guys think?
I loved it.
Yeah, no, Ben loved it because he just spent the entire game shooting me. Like I had 6 bullets, like, in my deck.
5 of them.
Five of which were from Ben.
So Trigger Happy Award goes to
Yeah.
Ben.
So I
Yeah.
got the extra $1,000.
Well, you
At
got
the end
you've got
for-
to be aggressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Dave said that he doesn't like it because whenever he plays it, he just ignores the other players and just goes for the cash.
Mhm.
It's like, well, we're all war gamers, so you give us a gun, we're going to use it.
Yeah, totally.
So it was just ours descended into a gunfight with occasional
Yeah.
theft.
The theft, which was the reason why our characters were on the Colt Express, was a side note for an excuse to shoot and beat each other up.
Yeah,
But I did not do well in that game.
but you had fun failing.
Oh yeah.
Which is because this is the thing about a lot of other games, right? Is when you're doing badly, it's frustrating.
Oh,
But in Colt Express,
it's kind of fun.
you can have a miserable time but have so much fun at the same time.
It's all the
Mm.
slapping that goes on as well.
Yeah.
You're punching people for
Yeah.
and you're hoping they're gonna. I don't know. It's like a computer game. You punch people and coins spite out. You know?
Just
So
like
some-
real life.
Yeah,
Sonic
yeah.
the Hedgehog. Yeah.
Yeah. So we got a game of Colt Express in as well, and then we
Live Kickstarter.
Kickstarter. Yes.
You just because you went straight to the seminars.
I did. We streamed live.
Yes.
Nigel from One Free Elephant hitting the Kickstarter
Big
button
green
the
on,
big button.
on my the enter.
Yes, the enter
the
key.
enter key on. Or maybe even a left mouse, a left mouse
was
click.
The enter key, and then again because it does ask you, are you sure
you sure?"
you want to kickstart this?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's hyped up as being quite exciting, like actually pressing the button to launch a Kickstarter, but it is just admin. It's
Yeah.
quite mundane. It's like, accept these terms and conditions, which no one reads.
Yes.
Nobody reads.
Why would you?
No.
But you could pause our video and read them if you're so inclined.
If
Yeah,
you
there
want
we
to.
go.
Yeah.
There we go. I'm sure. Anyway, Nigel was launching Microbrew
Yes.
for One Free Elephant.
And within the first minute,
Oh, how much money did they make?
they
in the
had
first
7
minute? Yeah.
backers in the first minute.
Yeah. But and then within the first 16 hours, they'd smashed the funding goal.
Yeah.
They've already,
Sarah and
yeah.
Nigel are pros
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
it comes to this.
Yeah.
I've lucky enough to have been part of. I've at least known Sarah before she had published her
Mhm.
first game, Awesome.
Yeah.
Way back a few years. All the years merge into
Yeah.
one, but like I did run a little club, or I started it. It was Glasgow Game Lab, and it was roughly when I was like still trying to design my own games and things like that.
Mm.
And I just started up because I wanted a playtest group in Glasgow. So I just started it, and Sarah came along to the first one, and we kept on meeting. At that point, she had a game, and it was all on cut out paper and handwritten, and these little kind of carts that she had prototyped. And she was like, "Oh well, I don't know if this game works, but like I want to see how it goes." And I'm lucky enough to have experienced that game grow all the way to a successful Kickstarter,
Yeah.
published, see them publish their second game, Carcosa, and now with Microbrew. It's quite an honour to witness that.
Mm.
And Mark McKinnon as well.
Yes.
He
yeah.
came along to the game labs, and he had
Raccoon
Raccoon
Ruin.
with him. So kind of two very great kind of mirrors
Yeah.
within the Kickstarter
I had
publishing,
a-
self-publishing scene.
An interesting chat with Mark because we were saying that this is obviously we know Mark and we've met him at other things, we had him on the podcast,
Yeah.
but this was the first convention he's been at where he's funded.
Uh-huh.
And so he said it was quite a different sort of
Yeah.
feel to it, it felt quite So I'm interested to see how he felt it went.
Yeah, because I noticed
Yeah.
as well, he normally has like a pit crew with him.
Yeah.
And I guess because he's funded now and he's obviously going to be waiting to fulfil the Kickstarter and then eventually move on to the next project, I think it was a bit more of a relaxed affair for him,
Yeah.
relatively speaking.
I think he did say though he could have done with another person because he felt that because he when you knows about Marcus, he will always sit down and demo the game with someone. But the layout, the tables were separate, so it meant if somebody came and looked at the other table, he couldn't, so he said it would have been good to have somebody else there just to do that, because I think there was quite a bit of interest coming past and seeing it. But he also did say that he'd got some late pledges, through the pledge manager, through doing it, and also some people that had backed it got the opportunity to play it, to know what they would play.
I think he said he made about 200 in late pledges over the weekend,
It's
so
good.
Yeah. So, yeah, excellent.
So Microbrew is on Kickstarter just now.
Yes, check it out by all means.
And you know how they're proceeding with that? So they have made their target
Yes.
within, was it 16 hours?
16 hours. Incredible. So they'll have the 24-hour, because they get a badge, don't they?
Yeah,
Funded
funded within 24 hours.
So they've had 2 successful Kickstarters, but I think this is far and away
They've already unlocked one of
most
their first
successful.
stretch goals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's actually a pledge level called Special Brew, which is like if you're not from the UK, you might not really get that joke. But
No.
There's a particular formula of lager enjoyed by people that want to get tanked up a little bit quicker, shall we say? And that's a Special Brew.
I've never drank Special Brew.
I was in Fort Augustus a couple of years back, and there was a Japanese tourist walking about. And he had a can of Special Brew.
Yeah,
It's that way. He must have gone in a shop and said, like, what sort of drink do the locals enjoy? Just gone, there you are, son. We can get around that.
I've never drank Special Brew, but I have had Bucky.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Bucky tastes like the cheapest red wine filled up with a bag of sugar and caffeine.
That's essentially what it is.
Yeah.
Far wrong.
It's not pleasant.
Made in Buckfast Abbey though.
Yeah, down in England, it's our fault.
Get Buckfast ice cream and all sorts as
yeah.
well. People have done all sorts of wacky stuff with that.
So, we had captured the moment that Microbrew went live, and then the next we get to the seminars.
Yes.
So we had 2 fantastic seminars
Yeah, really good.
on the Saturday afternoon, evening. The first of which were Meeple Like Us. This was Michael and Pauline,
Yep.
and their entire seminar is with regards to accessibility in gaming, and I have to admit, it's something that I'd never given serious thought towards, right? But it was really informative, really opened my eyes to some of the issues that people have in getting into the hobby, and all the different. The thing I was wowed at the most was all the different types of colourblindness, and they had an app that could demonstrate how people with the particular types of colourblindness see a game.
The colourblindness thing is something that like video games are streets ahead of tabletop games with, because it's especially like the shooters. For some reason, like you go into the options in a lot of shooters, and they have like most of the main categories of colourblindness as a setting option. And the thing is, and this ties into what Michael said, is that a lot of the people that play the shooters quite seriously, quite competitively, will actually have the colour blindness modes on, because it improves visibility for them as well. And one of the things that Michael said during his seminar is, I can't remember the name of the game that he mentioned, but it was a Caribbean themed game. It was
Jamaica.
Jamaica.
It was Jamaica.
There we go. Seems obvious now. But, one of the currencies in it is pieces of 8, and he was saying that they just use like discs in the game for it, that they're printed up to look like a coin. But he was saying that pieces of 8 in the Caribbean at that time were actually like coins just cut up. And he said so you could improve accessibility by having the components identifiable by unique shape.
By touch.
But it improves immersion for everyone.
Yeah.
Which is what real world currency does, though, right?
Yeah.
Every
Yeah.
single coin that the Bank of England,
They mentioned
Mate.
like Danish crowns have
Yeah, exactly.
holes in them.
all currency throughout the entire world, you could probably shove your hand in your pocket blind and figure out, oh, that's a 50p coin,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Without even looking at it. But for some reason, we don't do that in tabletop games
Yeah.
It'll just
because
be the same cardboard cut out
yeah.
with just like a different number on it, and that was actually blindness, wasn't it? And sort of that way that how do you engage it? Well, if you pick it up. and it's
Lords of Waterdeep
one thing.
actually has
Yeah.
the counters is different.
And they're a lovely currency to use as well.
Yeah.
I like the crescent moon, sort of 5.
You get
Yeah.
the crescent and then
Crescent
you've got the little square with the
Yeah.
hole punched through it,
Mhm.
haven't
Yeah.
you?
But so it was a really interesting seminar, a
Of course,
great
that
turnout.
we're going to be publishing the
Yes.
whole seminar
Yes.
online as well.
So watch out for that. We'll get all of that up, and you can witness yourself.
It is worth a listen.
Yeah.
Witness or listen.
Uh-huh. Bez.
Yes.
Yes.
Bez did her, and I think she's done it at a few different conventions now. Board Game Design 101. We unfortunately had to nip in and out of the seminar to get ready for our panel show.
We had to eat.
Yeah.
It's like,
Uh,
so we basically hit record on everything and it was like, really
I'm
sorry, Bez.
sorry,
We have
Bez.
to eat now, or we might.
Yeah,
not
we need
last the
we
night.
need to sustain ourselves. But I was able to nip back in afterwards.
Yeah.
Really interesting. And if you've never met or seen or heard Bez, what you'll get from this seminar is just her passion for making the hobby as best as it can be. Above all else, she's so enthusiastic, but also really encouraging of other people.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So again, we recorded Bez's seminar, so we'll have that up and available for people to watch and listen and learn.
Yes.
There we are. So after all of that, we did Room D100+1.
Did you just get to see it, or were you still in the library?
We saw nothing all weekend.
How long were you in the library most nights?
14 hours, I think, on
Oh my
Saturday.
word.
Wow.
I went to Morrison's for a bit, but that's,
That was our break. Well, yeah,
that was my break. You didn't get a break.
You got me stuff to eat though, and I just kind of like crept behind the shelves and just like.
It was pretty
Like a
constant,
squirrel
wasn't
just
it? There
like-
wasn't
yeah.
any.
Like some goblin.
Essentially, that was who I was for the weekend. Yeah.
Well, we'll have to get one of you guys on the next one we do,
Yeah.
because we had 9 fantastic panelists, including, of course, our very own
Yes.
Charlotte Porter. Ben and I were presenting.
Yeah, we actually had more than 50 in the audience
Yeah,
as well.
it's
I
great
think we
turnout,
had about
yeah.
56.
Yeah.
So
Such a good variety of spaces actually
Yeah.
at the centre.
Yeah.
Like it accommodated pretty much every aspect, everything that was on. The balcony was really cool to chill out as well.
And the
Yeah.
RPG tables were full, like
Yeah.
constantly.
Oh yeah,
Just
that was
full.
a
There was
huge
2
success.
RPG rooms, wasn't there? So there was like
Mhm.
12 different RPGs
Yeah, that's
going
right,
on at
yeah.
the one
Shout out
time.
to Ross and Kevin
Yeah,
from
yeah.
West End Games for basically running that show.
Yeah.
and an army of volunteers.
Army
as
of
we said.
Oh,
There's a
yeah, all the
load of
DMs,
volunteers.
like,
Yeah.
So we have got sidetracked though. Our 9 panelists with Charlotte. On the first panel we had, along with Charlotte, we had Steve Fettis and Ian. We also had Kat, Sarah from One Free Elephant
On the second panel.
on the second panel.
Yeah.
Oh, my mind's going
It was
blank.
Kat, Matt, and Peter.
Peter
Yeah, the
Hopkins.
So
second
Kat
panel.
from I Play Red,
Cat
obviously,
from I Play Red, Matt Coward from the University of York,
who we've
who's,
interviewed on the podcast
yeah,
previously.
and then we had Peter Hopkins from the Drawn to the Flame podcast.
Yes.
Yes.
That's a podcast with a focus on the Arkham Horror living card game.
hmm And then finally, we had Richard of We're Not Wizards, Sarah of One Free Elephant, and Duncan of Tabletop Scotland,
Yes.
one of the organisers.
So into the room we put in the first panel, it was Ameritrash and Eurogame.
Yes.
That
Were
was
put
Ian's
into
nomination.
Room D100+1. And then we put in badly written rulebooks.
Yes.
Mhm.
And then the last one,
This was the most
we
controversial.
put the Mind. into Room D100 plus one.
Just the very concept of the mind.
Just the
game.
entire game. Duncan described it as 500 litres of arse gravy.
Very.
And then corrected it to 500 ml because it is a small box.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fair
Still damning though.
Pretty much.
That's it.
But that was the crowd that voted for that. We do
Yeah.
not take any responsibility for
Yeah,
that.
to
So.
play the mind.
We have a copy downstairs.
You wanna?
There's a story
Please, we
behind this.
cannot get rid of it.
So this copy of the Mind, first of all, it was used as a prop in the panel show, and then we thought it would be quite funny to award it as a wooden spoon award in the pub quiz. And the person that got it didn't want it, so they gave it to Duncan.
Having seen the panel show.
Duncan obviously didn't want it, so it found its way back to us. Then I tried to give it to Duncan, and then it found its way back to us. So I think it's going to be doing the rounds for years to come.
Going to be boomeranging right back to us every
What's
time.
so bad about it? 'Cause I've never heard of it.
Well, apparently what they're saying is it's not a game.
Okay.
So we've not played it yet.
No,
I
we are
would
going to
like
play
to
it.
give it. You know, I don't want to make a judgment call.
I've met fans. I mean, like
Well, it
Ian
was
from Unmick,
Yeah.
he actually enjoyed himself. He played it for the first time at the weekend. So, you know, I don't know if that's a reflection on Ian's taste in music and games, but you know.
And also, it did win Spiel the
No,
No, it was nominated.
Nominated.
It was
Azul
nominated.
won.
Azul, of course, Azul won. I knew that.
Because this is one of the arguments that having not played it that I'm leaning towards. I don't think that the Mind would have been nominated for Spiel des Jahres were it not for the fact that the panel were quite vocal about the fact that they were not happy with the standard of translations for a lot of the rule books of other games. I dare say that had that complaint not been there would have been other games that would have been
Because
nominated.
it is ultimately a German award, isn't it?
It's a German industry award because
Yeah.
the panel's comprised of members of the German-speaking press.
Yeah.
I think people forget that Spiel des Jahres is not an international
National
award.
Yeah.
Mm. But yeah, so if anyone would like a copy of The Mind, do let us know.
Maybe the Dice Roll Cafe would like a copy.
Yeah, sure. We have.
There we go. We've
have
got
hung-
rid of it.
I mean, we have. We're not fussy. We have Hungry Hippo in the library.
Yeah, Hungry Hippo's
Hey.
a good game.
Hey,
Don't mock Hungry Hippos.
yeah, a classic.
It
Yeah.
sounds like the board game equivalent of The Room, so I'm immediately.
Yeah. Yeah.
That could be the best analogy yet. Like,
So, well, Duncan said that the same company made a game called The Game a couple years
Oh,
ago.
they're into their.
Yeah,
That's
they call it like they see it, the Germans, don't they?
The Mind.
But apparently there's not a whole lot of difference between the two.
oh well.
Yeah.
So let us know how that goes down.
Yes.
Yeah.
The the cafe.
It's always
So-
the junkyard of gaming.
yeah. Oh.
No, honestly, don't send your unwanted games. I don't have enough room for that.
Loads of copies of Monopoly.
All the different varieties of
Yeah.
Monopoly. But after the Room 100 plus one, we did our pub quiz,
Yes.
which went down a storm,
Yeah.
if I may say so myself.
I people came out. I mean, I was downstairs in the main hall, but like everybody came out just really pumped, really happy. You can see everybody was smiling.
Do you know the name of the rounds?
I know of people have told me a couple of the rounds. I don't know the name specifically.
So we had a geography round, which was the started off.
No, we started off
Oh.
with
first player round.
player.
First player round.
Yeah.
So this was we would read out the criteria for who is the first player in a game. For example, who was most recently abducted by the CIA
Yep.
or KGB. Do either of you guys know?
Spyfall?
You're thinking along the right lines, but it's not Spyfall. It's secrets.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like another sort of spy social
Yeah.
deduction
Mm.
game.
Yeah.
So we had that second
Let's
round.
Copperfield.
Yeah, let's Copperfield. We
There's now
had.
lots of pictures of Charlotte in her box.
Yeah.
Charlotte was stood at the front with a beautiful display Cthulhu, and within there was a game component which we asked people to feel blind
Yeah.
and then figure out what it was.
We were saying that if we do it again, we're going
Oh.
to get a GoPro
Oh my
above
God,
the
the
box because
faces.
some of the facial
Oh, they were
expressions
amazing. It was
were
like
quite
that.
Big
interesting.
screen at the back.
Oh,
The thing that I found quite disturbing is that the same people were coming out quite
Yeah.
consistently. Gluttons
They
for
really
punishment.
wanted it.
the
Oh,
other
yeah.
thing I noticed though the following day, and this is maybe the sort of walk of shame kind of thing, is a lot of them couldn't look me in the eye. They would walk past
What
me.
was this component?
No, well, there was whole, like, you know, so people would put their hand in the box. I'm going, ooh, like that,
Yeah.
things like that, and then there was like,
Because one of them was a Formula D30.
Yeah.
It was a 30-sided dice.
oh yeah.
And
So
I think
many
it was like
comments.
3 smart arses were all like, feels like my testicle.
I was like,
you
yeah,
know?
go get yourself checked out.
So it's that sort of pattern, like,
Yeah.
okay, jog on.
But it was
Yeah.
good. It was good back.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
And then it was the geography round.
Then
Geography round. So we were giving the name of a place that is featured in one of our beloved tabletop games, and
Universes?
we wanted to know what game or universe that was from. So examples were Tarkia being from Magic the Gathering.
That was arguably the most controversial round because there was a couple of, nerds being nerds. They argued their points over a couple of them.
Was it Arkham or Fenris that
Both.
got
Both of them.
Both.
Arkham
So the
was
first
specifically-
question was the town of Arkham is featured in which game or universe, which is like Lovecraft, the Cthulhu mythos, right? A lot of people were arguing for Batman,
Yeah.
but we specifically asked the town of Arkham,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
not a place called Arkham.
Yeah. And Fenris is apparently we were looking for Warhammer 40,000.
Mhm.
Fenris is the home planet of the Space Wolves.
Yeah.
However, the name is derived from Norse mythology.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So there were some people arguing the toss about Norse mythology.
Champions of Midgard.
Yeah.
No, was that one of them? And also Warcraft.
Yeah.
Warcraft. It was it was Cat from I Play Reddit, but Warcraft, and we were just
We
like,
did award half points for
Mhm.
ones that maybe we hadn't put down, but because we are generous quizmasters, despite what people think.
yeah.
I think you should try and I think the next one you should get somebody out of the audience to be the judge.
Yes.
Dress them up.
Oh
There'll be
yeah.
gaffers.
No, I love
Gang,
that.
order. If you can get me out of the library.
Ben, do you not fancy that gig? Get a nice wig on and robes and
Jail and all that.
The next round then.
The next round was 1-star reviews,
Oh.
so we were giving 1-star reviews found on Board Game Geek or Amazon, and the contestants had to name what game that was reviewing.
My favourite one was received. Pick is deceiving. Received these disgusting, obscene cards in place of what I thought was a fruit blender.
But do you know the mad thing about it was a verified purchase?
What?
Yeah. It was-
So that it's obviously Cards Against Humanity.
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
what the cards was.
Against humanity blender.
And the
Played some very
round
tame games.
that-
I think the round that got everyone going, like we ended on a high. We quite simply quite simply asked our contestants, board game or porno.
That's great. I heard
Aw.
some really good feedback from that. And I heard it was the highest scoring
Yes,
round
it
for
was.
everybody.
Oh.
I don't know what that says about people's knowledge of board games or people's knowledge of porn.
We were a bit
Not sure.
generous with that as well.
Yeah.
though.
Because there were some trick ones.
One of them was Fanny, right?
Which is both.
The answer was both. So I said, when I was reading out the answers, I said, so if you've written either, you get a point. And I went, Fanny for everyone. And then this cheer erupted.
I've got to preface this by saying I'm not an expert or an aficionado of pornography by any means. But that's
So
quite
he
an
says.
unimaginative name.
Yeah.
What shall we call it? Fanny.
Yeah.
That's what it says on the tin.
My favourite moment though was the very last one, which was Horatio Slice.
Horatio Slice Confessions of a Space Pirate.
So what we did in the answer, we asked people to vote on, show your hands, and it was Jess from.
Jess from Uncon.
Put your hand up if you think this
Yeah,
is a board
and she
game.
went,
And Jess from Uncon. The only
One
person in the room.
And then everybody else, who thinks the porno? And everybody went, it's the porno.
What I want though is any game designers out there. I want someone to write an RPG called Horatio about Horatio Slice the Space Pirate.
Yeah.
I think I would be up for that.
I'd play
That'd
that.
be game, yeah.
Oh yeah.
So big congratulations
Yes.
to our winners. It
Who
was
won? Let's actually.
right, so they
let's
won.
do this
They won.
right.
They
It got
won
bigger. The pool
tickets
just
to
got bigger and
Uncon.
bigger.
They won tickets to Uncon. They won Unlucky Frog T-shirts.
A free trial.
They won a free trial for Board Game Crate, and they won a copy of Colt Express.
Amazing.
So Swag City.
Can we remember the name of the winning team? Because I know it was the One Free Elephant
Yeah.
guys.
Mother's Ruin.
Mother's Ruin, there we go.
Mark McKinnon, One
Uh,
Free Elephant. There was like 10 of them in the group.
it was kind of like a Justice League
Yeah.
of Scottish board game designers.
We'll send them the heavies for sure.
Yeah.
But we did. It was a very close run contest
Yeah.
because there were 3 teams. The winners were on 19 points, and the 2 runners-up were both on 18. So
Yeah.
it was
Yeah. Out of 40.
40.
it was
Yeah.
a difficult quiz.
We've been told we need to
Maybe
make
make it
it
a
more
little
accessible
easier.
next time.
Oh, have we?
Look a bit like Bed's face.
don't
No.
Yeah.
dilute the
Yes,
prize.
We'll see what the judge
Yeah.
has to say about that.
You gotta sweat for your.
All right.
Yes.
I'm now gonna have to source a judge's outfit.
Yes,
for
you
you.
I
started
think
it
so.
now.
I need a gavel. And all
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A wee gown, a wee wig.
Yeah.
You got the beard.
I got you a
Yeah, I've got
gavel.
that sorted.
You've got a gavel.
Well, there we go. I've got a gavel. Just need the gown and the wig.
Why have you got Ben a gavel?
I got it from Edinburgh Dungeon.
Yeah. Dun dun dun.
It is a pen.
Yeah.
So
Right. Okay.
you can't have everything.
So we took photos with the winners.
Yep.
The winners won a load of swag.
Yep.
The runners-up got a load of Unlucky Frog merch as well.
What was
Yeah.
so bizarre, totally the bizarrest thing about the whole people wearing our t-shirts.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm so used to only us wearing our t-shirts, so I don't even look at faces. I'll just look at the t-shirt and be like, oh, hi Josh, hi Ben. And then
Faces up
oh!
here, Charlotte.
That was so superficial.
But it was that way, it's like, you're not one of us, you know. But there was like 12 people the next day running around in Unlucky Frog t-shirts.
Which was great to see. Very surreal.
I thought, we'd give them the t-shirts, they'd probably just throw them in the bin, use them for oil rags or something. But who knew people would actually wear them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this brings us to Sunday, which was considerably calmer for us.
Was it
Yes.
calmer for you guys?
It was.
Yeah, that's
Well,
good. Well,
It was still
Something
busy
like that.
though, right?
It was short.
Still busy, I think. It was still. I think, if I remember correctly, we were just over 160. I think 160 library cards
Wow.
signed out.
Wow.
On Saturday.
That's 152.
Was it for 150? Just made it to 200 on Sunday.
That's brilliant.
We still had 60 people that were registered from Saturday that were coming back in. So.
We went back in.
Oh yeah.
We played Role Player.
Yeah.
Which we really enjoyed.
Really enjoyed. Going to pick that up at some point, I think.
Have you guys had a chance to play that? No.
That's a fun game.
It's
I've wanted to
character
forever.
creation, the game, right?
Yeah,
It's-
basically. I had my halfling barbarian.
The theory we need to test is apparently you can use the character that you have created by the end of Role Player in D&D.
Makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's something we're going to have to test out in the future.
I want to try that, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And we did get to the Geeknson table and
Yes,
we
we
played
did.
Everdell,
Yes.
finally.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fresh out of Gen Con.
What are we...
Beautiful, such a beautiful game. The amount of people that came past, because it was on a Geeknson table, because obviously you're looking at the tables,
Beautiful
but the
table.
people that were just
Mm.
like, oh my god, look at this game.
Is that beautiful table, beautiful game?
Exactly.
Beautiful people.
I actually,
Yeah, oh, you
Yeah.
flatter us. You flatter us.
That's the name of the episode.
Yeah.
That's right there.
But it's true. But no, I did enjoy it. It looks stunning, but I kind of feel it just plays like any other worker placement game.
I think art wise it's up there with the best of them.
It is.
Oh
Without
yeah,
a doubt.
without a doubt.
I would play it again solely for the art, like
Yeah.
because the
The
other thing as
aesthetic.
well is I will be honest and say I do worker placement games and I maybe was expecting something a bit different, but it took me about 3/4 to maybe fully get my head around what was happening, and then realising that there wasn't much time to bring it back. you know,
Yeah.
by then,
Yeah, because there was a lot of stuff that retroactively, like, oh, we did that wrong.
Yeah.
But it was like, oh, it's too late to because because you're building engines in worker
Yeah.
placement,
Yeah.
it's too late to undo it now.
and it's tight. It's like set in seasons, so
Yeah.
it's like you move through the seasons, so you
The
can't.
rule book
go
was
back.
abysmal. It was
The
really
rule
bad.
book was really bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
And
It's true.
we all had a look at it. We
Yeah.
all had, because like one person reads through it,
Mm-hmm.
and then another's like, "Oh, you must be missing something. Let me see that." Like,
Yeah.
nope, this is awful. And then,
Yeah.
What I got the impression with the book, and I was saying to it's been written for people who game. So gamers can obviously fill in the blanks with their knowledge or their experience of previous games. But for somebody that's never gamed, they'd be like, well, what do you mean? It just says, because it's even like, because we weren't sure about the in-between seasons bit, or when you prepare for...
Well, we were saying to you earlier, Kenny, weren't we, like the transitioning between the seasons,
Yeah.
I think is supposed to indicate the end of a turn, right? There's nothing that definitively says
Yes.
that
Yeah.
in the rulebook,
And
so...
it's
And that's kind of a big
Yeah.
thing.
Action, like, so it says prepare for a season, and that's like if you've got no workers left to place, and you've got no cards left you can play, you take an action to recall all your workers, and then you do whatever the season effect is for that. But if someone else is still placing workers, because there's nothing that says definitively that that's the end of the season, you could still place your dudes if you were a rules lawyer.
No, but we were even saying about the production. Does that mean the production continues until the season finishes?
There's a lot of like things that are quite important to the
Yeah.
game that aren't clear.
Isn't clear enough.
Yeah.
Ultimately, though, it is probably one of the most beautiful games I think I've ever played.
Yeah, you still want to get it.
I still really want to get it, and I want to play it again.
Yeah.
Now that I know how to play it or how I've interpreted it, I feel like I would really enjoy the experience. But I think it is one of those games you need to play it a couple of times before
Right,
you get
so.
to, which is the good joy of board game libraries, where you can
Yeah.
try things and have a go of it before you
Yeah.
decide whether to
I-
commit
yeah,
to it or
yeah.
not.
So, like in summary, because I feel like it's a nice place to round
Yeah.
off the board game library thing, because that was the new thing that we
Yes.
did this weekend.
Good for you.
I was quite skeptical of the whole library thing, but having now tried it myself, I'm converted. Always check out the library
Yeah.
because there'll be stuff that you've been wanting to try for a while.
Yeah.
More
Yeah.
often than not, there'll be a copy there.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is the new releases. It's a
Yeah.
great way of trying out games you're maybe on the fence about. Because I think we might have rushed right in and bought Everdell
Yeah.
and then been really disappointed with it and
Yes,
perhaps been
yeah.
harsher in our criticism
Yeah.
of
I
it.
think
Yeah.
I think libraries are the way of the hobby will
Yeah.
change into because games are getting more expensive. It's
Yeah.
getting getting quite exorbitant, some of the games prices, and it is a good way of getting your fix, getting something new,
Yeah.
trying something out without having to invest in a copy yourself. And it's a great way of actually socialising with people outside
Yeah.
your normal gaming group.
Yeah.
The gaming libraries should be a place which are open and accepting,
Yeah.
and a great way to expand your social circles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that the session we had on the Geeknson table. By the way, amazing tables.
Oh, yes.
They put us on the fanciest of the
Yes.
fancy because it had mood lighting, and a speaker for music.
You changed the lights to match the seasons.
It was
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Why?
cute.
Yeah, why not? If you can do it.
Because he was at Kickstarter table. He actually was coming and taking pictures of Everdell because he was like, "This is such a beautiful game," and he
Yeah.
was sort of going
Yeah.
around it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that was the nice thing about Everdell, and I guess where it maybe does fall down on its rules.
Yeah.
The fact that it's such a conversation starter,
Yeah.
that complete randoms were coming up and going, "That looks amazing," and then it just starts a conversation. That it's got value for that alone, I think.
Yeah.
And it's outside the typical, well, not typical, but very frequent themings of
Yeah.
fairly aggressive sort of,
Horrible cards in it. Dungeon in my
I had a cemetery.
And
Oh,
yeah.
we both had stadiums, which I think are used for sports.
I was
Right.
picturing it for tiny creature gladiatorial combat.
Sure.
So I was a despot. I'll admit it. I was a tyrant over my animal kingdom.
I had a post office.
So,
Yeah, there we go. if you're a tiny critter, I think you'd much rather live in Charlotte's
Charlottesville.
Forest.
I had
Come
a
to
sort of
Charlottesville.
rainbow coalition of woodland creatures. I had quite a diverse.
In the dungeon.
In the
Let's not
dungeon.
talk about
The dungeon was necessary.
that. Yeah, that's it.
But that kind of rounded off the weekend for us as we just helped
Yeah.
pack everything up afterwards. But there was so much stuff. Very briefly, I helped out on the pandemic survival
I
event. on
wandered into that.
Oof, that was
That
tense.
was intense.
I
That was
really
like
good
I
fun.
felt like I was back at high school. Where it's like an SQA exam, because like
Yeah.
you've got all the contestants are like partitioned off from one another, and then you've got the people invigilating, and they were all in like lab coats.
Yeah, I had my lab coat on.
They stand over them, and then the guy at the front will be like, ready, and then they'll all put the
Thumbs up.
to say that everything's okay. But it's
Got a good photo of this on my Twitter.
Yeah.
That's the Twitter handle there for Dice Roll Cafe.
What
Dice
was
Roll
it?
Cafe. Dice Roll Cafe.
Fantastic.
Just get it up there.
Yeah, there we go. But that was so intense, but everyone really had a good time.
Yeah.
There was the winning table.
Yes.
So it came down like 2 teams found the 4th cure at the same time. So it went down to tiebreakers, and you could hear a pin drop in that room. The winners were one of the tables that I was looking after, actually, so I was really happy for them. But there was another team. I'd spotted them at the pub quiz the previous night, and the 2 of them hadn't played Pandemic in over a year,
Wow.
and they did really well. They had got to like 3 cures and were sort of stuck at 3 cures for ages and trying to find the 4th one. Unfortunately, if I recall correctly, they got an outbreak, just took them down. But
The other thing that's just reminded me, I don't know if you have heard about the D&D Epic.
yes, that was going on at the same time as the pub quiz, wasn't it?
So the D&D Epic is basically, it's multiple games taking place, and all, so something that happens on one table will affect all the other tables. And so what happened
it's
was
effectively like the massively multiplayer D&D, right?
somebody, there was one table that found a book and decided to destroy the book.
Okay.
And by destroying the book, they eliminated magic in the universe. So every table in that moment, every table, and there was somebody casting a spell at the time, all magic became, there was no access to magic anymore, all because this one table destroyed the book.
Was that just, or did that include like potions as well?
Well, I'm not sure, it was all magic users, so
The
everything
command
was
of
everybody-
I
magic.
don't know what the outcome of that was, to be honest.
Wow.
That was, so I would be quite interested to
Imagine
be,
you
I
were
would love to
playing
be in a
wizard,
D&D
you'd be
Epic.
raging, wouldn't you?
Wizards, clerics,
I
you know.
mean,
totally.
I play a ranger and a non-spellcasting ranger at that, so I'm alright, Jack.
Well, I'm an arcane ranger,
Yeah.
so I couldn't,
Yeah, couldn't
you know,
function.
couldn't do spells.
Aren't you an arcane archer?
Arcane archer, sorry.
Yeah.
Arcane archer.
Yeah.
Full magic, and every time I've done it.
Oh, were you?
Oh,
So
yeah.
I would
you
just be an
Yeah.
old man.
You could just be the mule, we'll just give stuff to carry whilst we're running around.
Very weak bones.
That's alright. You could still do the social side of an adventure in D&D.
I don't want to.
It's like, we need somebody to go over to that really angry-looking town over there. Let's just send the old guy.
It might be quite nice to play just like an expendable, almost like suicidal character. I'll roll that character. Didn't
So yeah, I would be quite keen. That's the first time I've actually seen or heard of the D&D Epic, and it was actually it was the gents from West End Games
Yes.
that were running it. So I would be very keen.
Yeah.
So the other thing we haven't mentioned was the bringing by.
Yes, this was massively successful.
I think they'd actually sold out, or there was only, you know, there was the
Well,
shelves
it
were
was
bare
it was
by.
hugely popular anyway. That's
Yeah.
The queue was notorious. People would come down to the library and I was like, oh, I was going to queue up for the bringing by. It's going out the door, through the next room and starting in the stairs.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll just leave it, you know, but like
Yeah.
that means people were coming away with some really good
Biggest
bargains.
things.
There's
Yeah.
a few people come along to the library with like out of print games, stuff that I wouldn't mind if
Yeah.
I had myself
People
for
getting
really
a-
good prices.
People get into a bit of a frenzy with these things
Oh,
though,
yeah.
because
Yeah.
like a lot of folk were saying that they brought stuff that they just couldn't get rid of. Like some of it, they were saying that not very good as well, but it was just flying off the shelves.
It's
Everything.
like Black Friday for nerds.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I suppose
totally.
as well, like obviously Aircon has a bringing by, UK Games Expo has a bringing by, but there's not been a bringing by in Scotland.
Yeah,
Is this
which
the
is
first?
why I
Is this
think
the first games one in Scotland probably?
Yeah.
Which is why, like you're
why
saying,
there
Kenny.
was some really good
Obscure. Yeah.
obscure
stuff in it,
things
yeah.
that are, you know, £50, £60 on eBay or
Yeah.
Amazon that were going for like £20,
Yeah.
£17.
Mhm.
Yeah, because I know that when Duncan went down to Aircon, he took like a boot full of stuff.
Mm.
But
Oh, yeah.
like for instance, we don't drive, so if we couldn't take,
Yeah.
you know, we've got everything else to take. We couldn't take a bag full of board games with
Well,
us.
it's
like.
even like because I was considering taking a few games to UK Games Expo to sell at the bringing by, and then I heard the queue was like 3 hours each
Oh,
way. Like,
yeah.
no, thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
This one wasn't as long as that 3 hours,
Yeah.
so
Not quite.
a wee
Not yet.
manageable.
But there were a ton of other events happening
there
that
was
we
so
never.
much
There,
going on.
there was the Shadespire Grand Clash.
Oh, the tournaments. We haven't even mentioned
Yeah.
that apart from the
It was,
pandemic.
Warhammer Underworlds.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We need to start. We've been calling it Shadespire for like a year, but it's Warhammer Underworlds.
Yeah.
Season 2 is the
Night
Nightfall.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Warhammer Underworlds Grand Clash,
Yeah.
which
It
I believe was a great success.
Catan and Carcassonne as well. There were tournaments
Yeah,
for
the,
that.
the
They're a
actual
little bit
qualifiers.
smaller, but I think
Yeah.
they had about 24,
Yeah.
20
There was a
for.
Mega Karuba as well.
Yeah,
Mega
Mega
Karuba.
Karuba.
That was quite
Yeah.
popular. I
Folk
heard.
from
Hosted
Abba.
by John.
Yeah.
Haber were there in
Oh,
force
wow.
as well.
I have to say, Habba were amazing. Habba were the first, apart from the games library,
Yeah.
you know, Habba were the first thing you saw. And was it Claudio and his son were there managing it. Even the bit that I loved was the chairs that they had for it were yellow and matched all the it just looked so
that was pure
thematic.
coincidence,
I
though,
know.
because they came from the swimming pool.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing that I kept saying actually about this convention overall was there were so many kids there. I've never seen so many kids at a convention.
Well behaved kids
That's
as
what's
well.
none of them
Yeah.
were screaming,
Mhm.
none of them were shouting, none of them were throwing tantrums, none of the parents were throwing tantrums either. But
Mhm.
it was because they were engaged, they were
Mhm.
included, they felt involved, and they felt as if there was a place for them. And I think that's what Tabletop Scotland set out to be.
Yeah.
Do you know, for me, I think I mentioned to a couple of you guys already, but one of the most touching things that I heard over the weekend, at the risk of sounding a bit cheesy, was that I was talking to Phil from Genki Gear,
Mhm.
and he actually said that events like Tabletop Scotland give him hope for the future.
Yeah.
Aww.
Because he said that, he says, you know, you turn on the news and it's so depressing and negative, and you look at YouTube comments and people are so horrible to each other. He says, but you come to an event like Tabletop Scotland and it's like there's little kids running about and everyone's so friendly and enthusiastic. And that was something that the Juror staff
Yeah.
kept saying, was that everyone was so friendly and polite. The exhibitors all kept saying that. So
I was super impressed by the attendees for the convention. There was a lot of families there, and some of the best feedback came from the kids. Like, I don't know if these are families that play games regularly. They may have been, they might not have been, but there was a wee girl like running around going, I love this game, I love this game. She just kept on saying that while we were handing in the...
Which game was it?
it was,
Whitechapel.
I was going to joke with like Twilight Imperium.
it was Coldest, actually. But that's what a lending library is all about. That's what gaming's all about, really, generally. There was a wee girl that kept on asking her mum, like, oh, how much is that costing us? And the mum was like, no, it's a library, we're not paying for this. And it was great to see that this kid was kind of like being shown you can just have fun for no money, or you can just go along, participate, learn something new, learn a game. It's brilliant.
well, we were playing Colt Express. A little family came and sat down next to us,
I may have swore.
and Josh
I'm really
Josh
sorry.
swore at a 5-year-old. No,
I did not swear at the child. I
Push
swore
over
at
the
the general
child.
vicinity.
Josh punched a baby, guys.
If I recall correctly, I was swearing at you because this was like the third time you'd shot me in the game.
Did you apologise to the family?
I
No,
kind of
he
just...
was quite sheepish.
Yeah, I was
But
just...
the family were fine. They were
Yes.
great. They were playing Sushi Go Party, and
Yeah.
I was saying I love this game. This is one of my favourites, and it was great because there was 2 really small kids, but they started talking to me like, I picked it. And I'm like, well, I can see you're a man of culture.
But you're absolutely right though. This, out of the conventions that I've been to, this has been the most family friendly, and I really hope they can.
atmosphere, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, I really hope they continue that as well, because I think that's what the hobby needs. We need we need new fresh meat coming in
For the grinder.
Yeah, hook them while they're young. Like,
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And on that note,
on that jolly note, I think we'll call it time here.
but
So
what we need to say first of all is we have been the official media partner.
We are now we were the official media partner. Thank you.
Of myself.
For the next, are we still official media partner when it's done, or can we always
t-
hark back to
Time
that?
will tell.
Yeah.
Time will tell.
So
I think.
Yeah.
I think this pub quiz will go down as a annual tradition.
And hopefully the
Yeah.
Dice Roll Cafe branded games library as well.
Yes.
Hopefully.
I love your banner.
Yeah, the banner's beautiful.
Well, if you want a print, go ahead. You can have one.
Also some lovely attractive t-shirts. I can't believe I'm having to do this for you.
Promotion stuff.
come on,
£30
shill.
of your-
Shill.
So, if people are interested in the Dice Roll Cafe and what you're doing, where do they need to go?
I'm on Facebook, Dice Roll Cafe, just search that. My Twitter handle is @DiceRollCafe. My Instagram is @DiceRollCafe. And so I should
It's
be
consistent.
Yeah.
I like
yeah,
that. I like that.
thought about the little details. And I'm working on a website, so hopefully it's online, but I'll hopefully have to maybe start writing little articles, because I do want to try my best at kind of broaching the casual market and trying to expand the audience and stuff like that, because I do believe that board gaming is a hobby which is so rewarding to everybody across so many demographics. It really can change the world.
Well, I think
Yeah.
on that note, maybe family days are a good shout for you to have that, where you could invite families to come in and
Yeah.
play games and stuff like that.
We do work with other organisations. The British Science Association had kind of Pride House recently, so we do try and do things that are with the established audience, trying to advocate the benefits of gaming to enriching everybody's life, really.
Yeah. So I think the final thing to do is we need to give a massive thank you for the volunteers.
Yep.
For the attendees.
Woo!
Yeah. And finally, of course, the organisers,
Yes.
Dave, Duncan, John and Simon.
And
of
all
course.
the sort of affiliated.
Yeah.
And John in particular for giving Josh a verbal beatdown.
Biggest clap there.
Ben appreciated the evening off, having to constantly put me down. You still did a little bit for fun.
He needs a bit of help here.
So I think on that note, we can draw our special on Tabletop Scotland to a close. Guys, thank you very much for listening, and we'll catch you next time. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Hi, I'm Tom. Hope you enjoyed that. If you want to check out more on Unlucky Frog, check their Facebook page. You can find it by searching Unlucky Frog Gaming. You can also support them on Patreon, and check out their website at www.unluckyfrog.com.
Mention the Twitter.
Oh yeah,
Don't forget the Twitter.
they've got Twitter too. It's pretty cool.